Welcome to Tuesday, June 7th, 2022, this Day Weather podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Cowboy State Daily has more original Wyoming news than any other news organization in the state. Cowboy State Daily, sign up for their daily email newsletter and check them out on their Facebook page. A real typical early June weather pattern is setting up for the Intermountain West. Like yesterday, thunder will be found east of the divide. West of the divide, it's like a dividing line. There's really going to be nothing going on. Afternoon and evening thunderstorms are going to be severe for you folks in Nebraska, Colorado, and Kansas, extreme eastern Wyoming, down into the panhandles. Severe weather is going to be a possibility. Now, we have some bona fide summer heat coming at the end of the week and over the weekend. Desert air gets pushed in, and temperatures are going to warm into the 80s and even some 90s. However, there's a cold front next week that will cool things off again. So while we're going to get summer weather started, it'll be interrupted by another cold front early next week and maybe another cold front by next weekend, and that'll take us right on through the middle of June. Now, we don't normally show you this. What I'm showing you is a surface map. When we get into this time of year, when we get into the late spring and through the summer season, a lot of times when it comes to these afternoon and evening thunderstorms and the threat of severe weather, we a lot of times will look more closely at surface maps because it's the lower level features, the features closer to the ground, that generates a lot of the microclimate type weather on the smaller scale that plays a really big role in who gets severe weather and who doesn't. What I wanted to show you is this stationary front is backed up right against the continental divide. And this becomes a dividing line between dry air west of the divide and more moist air east of the continental divide. And you'll see this a lot in the late spring and summer season, where the better moisture is backed up against the divide east of the mountains, drier air west of the mountains, and that mix, that combination of moist east, dry west, daytime heating, and that tends to get into a chance of strong to severe thunderstorms. Also, we look at winds that are going to be upslope east of the divide with an easterly flow of air that we get this time of year, and that is a downsloping wind west of the divide. So the stage is set today with a stationary boundary and the dividing line between moist air and dry air. Then you take that with daytime heating and you're going to get shower and thunderstorm activity fired up. And here it really shows it well. The definition between the dry air west of the divide right here, and then the more moist air in the green and blue here east of the divide by afternoon. So you can see that mix. So that contrast between the dry air west of the divide, moist air east of the divide will set the stage for severe weather today. And this is where the enhancement is going to be. That yellow area and then the area we see enhance ENH here. That area, that ENH, there's going to be hail, there's going to be strong winds, there's going to be tornadoes. That yellow area, you're going to have a risk for hail. And then you can see, once you get along and west of that divide, you lose the green shading. So it's going to be an active day of severe weather on the high plains east of I-25, along Interstate 80 in Nebraska, I-76 and I-70. So be advised. And here's that hail risk. So you see that cross hatching there? That is a pretty high risk of hail. So if you're going to get into a thunderstorm today, there's going to be some large hail with it, especially in eastern Wyoming, eastern Colorado, southwest Nebraska there, and into parts of north central areas of Kansas. So yeah, it's that time of year. I hate to say it. We have to start worrying about that four-letter H word. And there's your tornado threat. So there's going to be a lot of storm chasers in this region later this afternoon and evening. And here's where those thunderstorms are going to be most concentrated today. As we get into tomorrow, that dry air I showed you west of the divide does get pulled in. So thunderstorms are going to be more concentrated down into West Texas, New Mexico, and into areas of, look at this, southern Arizona, starting to see some of that subtropical moisture, little fits of it, little fits and spurts starting to come northward. Looking ahead, this is where we are today, that mild Pacific air coming on in. We also have that enhancement. There's a little bit of a frontal system coming on in, but look at the warmth building in by Friday and the weekend. So we're going to have some desert heat build this weekend and later this week in the deserts of the Southwest. And then that's going to come in, that warmer air, into Wyoming, into Montana, into Colorado, and into the western high plains before we have a cold front, which is a pretty strong cold front, This is going to arrive late Monday into Tuesday. So we're going to see the pendulum swing. We're going to have some bona fide summer heat this weekend, but by early next week, we're going to cool off. Here are temperatures relative to averages by Saturday. You can see the heat across the Intermountain West with the cold here in the Pacific Northwest. So the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and probably Monday are going to be really warm, 80s and 90s coming. Then by Tuesday, look at those colder temperatures coming on in. So this is a pretty strong cold front for the middle of June, and that will bring showers and thunderstorms and colder weather for early next week. So summer weather's coming, but it's not going to hold at least past the middle of next week. And by next weekend, this is by late next week, this is by next Thursday and Friday, there's another low and another front coming on in. So what's going to happen is some weather whiplash. Really warm, cooling off, really warm, cooling off. And every time we cool off, there will be some showers and thunderstorms. Have yourself a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.